Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Rise and Recreate podcast. This is a space for people who feel the pull towards something more, for the ones who sense they're not here to live just one version of their life, but to evolve, to expand, and to consciously recreate themselves as many times as they would like. Have you ever wondered why you keep recreating the same patterns, even when you desperately want for something different? What if your behaviors aren't fixed, but they're programmable? And what's possible when you truly understand yourself and start creating your life from that awareness? Today's guest is someone who has devoted her life to answering these types of questions. Emily is a behavioral scientist, the creator of MTM, a mentor and a coach for mission-driven entrepreneurs, a podcast host, and a mother of three. Her work sits at the intersection of science and self-leadership, really helping people understand their patterns so that they can step into a life and business that are deeply aligned with who they really are. Emily, I'm so excited for
Me
you to
too.
join us today.
Thank you.
Yes, and I would love for you to just introduce yourself and tell us a bit about where you are and what your life looks like today before we take a journey into the past of how you got here.
Okay, well, thank you for having me, and I'm very excited to be here too. And thank you for that lovely introduction. I am actually kind of calling myself now a behavior change consultant because it is kind of an umbrella term of all the things that I do. It's a bit of a hybrid service. So it's coaching and mentoring and training. And I'm formally trained as a consultant. So behavior change consultant, and a behavioral scientist. I'm doing my PhD. I specialize in self-change. And yeah, I think I really loved your intro, but because I was recently asked if I had to share like 3 messages with the world, what would they be? And I nailed it down to: you are more powerful than you realize, or that you are led to believe. Your purpose is ultimately to fulfill your potential. I believe we're all kind of wired in a way to want to self-actualize. And the third one is prioritize learning how to know, love, and lead yourself, because that's the way to self-actualization. So it's like what you said was literally like, yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That was a new podcast intro too, so thank you for the lovely feedback. So what in your life, like when did you start getting interested in like this behavioral change? Was there an event in your life that triggered it where you were like, okay, I need to change for myself? And what did that look like for you?
Okay. So I started with like self-development, kind of getting interested in it when I was in a very unhappy marriage, my first marriage. Prior to that, I had been in and out of therapy and treatment facilities and programs for years, for over a decade. I was diagnosed with post-trauma and borderline personality disorder, and I was an alcoholic, and I had a whole bunch of shit going on. And in my first marriage, it was very miserable, and I was getting worse, and I went back on meds and this and that. And then for some reason, well, people had always told me, hearing my life, because I've had a very eventful life, people always told me I should write a book. And at some point I was like, okay, I want to write an autobiography. And I Googled, before ChatGPT times, I Googled, how do you write an autobiography? And Google said, read autobiographies and first get a feel for like how to write, how it's written, and what kind of, whatever angle, positioning. So I started reading autobiographies, and I was very much inspired by other people's stories. And I was like, holy shit, if these people who've gone through this kind of craziness can change their lives. There are some specific books that really were like, whoa. Then it put things into perspective for me. And I was just like, well, if they can, I can. And that kind of planted a seed. I'd had a few other seeds planted, but that was a big one. And then yeah, I started looking into self-development with the failing marriage. I think the first one was Tony Robbins. He was the first one that I found and was quite helpful. And then a couple of years later, divorce and a few other things happened, and I decided to take matters into my own hands. I woke up on the 28th of May, 2016, and I said, I quit drinking. That's it. I'm done. After that, I fired my shrink and I just started deep diving into self-healing. And yeah, I did my sobriety was I call it my rebirth. Everything changed after that, like proper domino effect of 180. Everything just started to manifest my dreams. If it's like finding my baby daddy, my love, my husband, and then babies and my calling and my path and my masters and my PhD, like everything just went, like everything started falling into place the minute I chose me and the minute I chose life and the minute I was like, I want to fulfill my potential and I have to change. And this is the big thing that I've been resisting for years and years and years and years. So yeah, did that answer your question?
Yes, and it not only did it answer my question, but it brought up many other questions and a lot of just beautiful points. Like, first of all, it just aligns so well with why I started this podcast because I truly believe in the power of hearing other people's stories and realizing, holy shit, if they can do it, so can I. And like, if you overcame alcoholism, you left a marriage, you had years of people telling you there were certain things that they were diagnosing you with and saying, this is wrong with you, blah, blah, blah. And something you tapped into that I think is the most powerful thing we all can tap into is belief. You started to develop that belief in yourself that
Yep.
it was possible for you and
Yep.
that it could change. And a lot of times it starts small, but then it feels so big that people are like, oh my gosh, do I really have the power to do this? Do I really have the power to change? And then from that little belief is when you said you quit alcohol and that's what you know, contribute your change to. But
Mhm.
I'd love for you to talk about tapping into this belief and what that felt like for you. And were there moments of doubt and how did you overcome those?
Okay, cool. So I will actually first start with the two main, I think, inspirations for me with the self-belief. And yes, belief is also why I always kind of preach, like that's where you start. That's the
Mhm.
first step. It all starts with what we believe. So there were two main people. One, he's called Sammy Rangel, and I watched his TED Talk. It's called The Power of Forgiveness. I recommend it to everyone and all my clients. He has one of, if not the most extreme cases of childhood abuse in America. And his life is like insanely traumatic and upset, like huge trigger warning watching this TED Talk. Um, but he was like, it was bad, and he got into gangs and prison and in the like worst prison system. And I'm not gonna I'm not gonna spoil it too much, like the story, because the story is crazy. But he turned his life around and he is out now and he's doing wonderful things. And I was just like, dude, if he can, like anyone can. And there's one other person that has the similar kind of, it's like the extreme. You go from like really being the worst of society kind of thing
Mhm.
to wow, like the things he does now are just amazing. Because he's been where he's been, he infiltrates like sex rings and break, like he does like really good work now, like trying to kind of, I guess, make up for stuff. But he's amazing. I love him. I was on his podcast. He's like a friend and we're connected now. He's amazing. Simon Rangel. The other one, the other guy, interestingly, men as well, two men. The other one is the son of Hamas. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's got a book and a documentary, but I recommend the book over the documentary just because books go kind of deeper. The Green Prince is also his other name, but the son of Hamas, Mossab. He was the son of one of the founding leaders of Hamas, which is proxy of, ISIS and the Iranian regime and and terrorist organization and, what everything, probably what's going on with the politics in the Middle East and everything. So he was a son of one of the founding leaders. And so he grew up very much extremist, radicalized, anti-Semitic. And he today is one of the biggest advocates for Israel and for Jews. And he is in exile, and he is, if he ever goes near, then they will kill him. His family will kill him. But if you can change that, it's de-radicalization, but it's to go from one end to the complete opposite, like your enemy. And I was like, people can change. Like, that for me was the belief that anyone can change. Like, we have the power, the ability to change. So that's where that kind of belief really kind of took hold. And I think I always had a belief in myself and my potential. And I believe that everyone knows, like, has an inner knowing of their own potential. It's just that it was conditioned out of us. And so I think that reconditioning is the name of the game here. You mentioned reprogramming as well, like programming, but it's just reconnecting to that inner knowing that we are meant for more, for something, that we have, gifts, we have a purpose, we have something, and so I think it's just reconnecting with that. And you asked, when I wobble, what helps? More or less. I mean, I've got ridiculous amount of tools in my toolbox, so I guess it depends on, like, case sensitive, like what happens in the moment that gets me through it. But anchoring into, I mean, for me, it was very much finding my calling, my purpose. I'm very mission driven. I'm very purpose driven. But as I said, it's like an inner knowing, and once you've connected to that, it's like you're hooked. It's like, that's it. Like, I know, and things, like, I can't stop. It's like it's I'm meant for something, and it feels like I found my path, I found my purpose. So I'm just walking kind of regardless of results, outcomes, things. And I see a lot of signs. I get a lot of signs from the universe, or whatever you choose to call it. I get a shit ton of signs that I literally, I freaked out when that started happening. I'm a former skeptic. I'm a converted. But yeah, when I started, like, getting signs, I was freaking. I was just like, what is this? Like, someone's pranking me. Like, this is ridiculous. You can't explain it. So yeah.
So we're going to get into that too, because I myself also get a lot of signs where I'm like, okay, I am on the right track. I am doing the right thing. And that has just helped me so much in my life in general. Just give me a little bit of that reassurance when you need it the most. But when talking about finding your purpose and your mission, this one is so big for people. And I think so many times people get confused of, like, what is it that I really want? And then they take years just spinning in circles of, like, I'm not really sure what it is. And so I'd love to hear your story of what you consider your purpose and mission to be, how that came to you, and what advice you have for people who might just be spinning, thinking, oh, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know.
Okay. So I'll start with, like, that really resonates and relates, because for years and years and years, it really frustrated the fuck out of me that I did not know what my purpose was. I felt so lost. And I think it pisses you off more if you, like, kind of have, I think if you really are, I think everyone's meant for something, but I think it pisses you off more when you know you're meant for something and you feel this inside, you're like, I'm meant for, so, like, what the fuck is it? By the way,
Yeah,
I'm allowed to swear, right?
absolutely.
Okay, cool. I'm just checking. But I really feel that the more it gets to you, it's because you're not in alignment, right? And I'm very into human design, and my not self theme is frustration. And I was so
Same.
frustrated. And I was very envious of the, kids in my class, like, oh, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a singer, I'm going to be an artist, I'm going to whatever. And I'm just like, I don't know. I like everything. I'm a manager, and I have no idea what I want to do. It drove me nuts. It really, like, ate away at me though. Like, really. I have tried multiple careers, multiple positions. I went from showbiz and modeling and military to hospitality and marketing and sales and real estate and like I literally everything from everything. I'm also a 3-line, so I'm just like, I'll try it, let's see if it fits. And nothing fit. And so I literally I did not stay longer in any industry or position more than 6 months, except for hospitality. And that one was 2 years. That was my last real job. And I loved it. But it really helped me, kind of gave me confidence. It helped me realize my strengths, like what I'm really good at, and I'm good at helping people, and I'm good at counseling people, and I'm good at creating change, and I'm good at problem solving was a big one for me. And I was just like, okay, I've got that. And I had a good boss. The other ones, they're all shitty bosses. And I was just like, I could run this business better than you. Bye, I'm leaving. But I had a good boss at the hotel. So I digress. The question was purpose. So I feel that what I always say to people and to my clients is one foot in front of the other. Don't focus on the whole path if you can't see it, you can't figure it out. Just focus on the one obvious step that's in front of you that feels right to you right now, and trust that the next one will emerge. And because that's the way it went for me, I just didn't trust. And I was doing things out of alignment as well, so it was ugh. But eventually, I tried all these jobs and all these career paths and all that. And then when I got sober, the first thing I did when I got sober, I was like, I'm awake now. I'm not in my little drunk pity bubble, victim. I'm like, okay, I need to catch up on the world. How does the world work? That was the thing that I felt I was missing out. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? I watched all the news channels, trying to get all the angles. I was like, okay, how does the world work? I was Wikipediaing how governments work. I was just how banking work. I was just catching up because I was way behind. When I realized how corrupt the UN was, I cried for half an hour on the phone to my mom. I'm like, oh my God, they're really corrupt and this is so fucked. And when I caught up on everything, I was like, the world is a shit show. Yeah. I must do something. And I decided I was going to save the world. That's the first thing that happened. I was reading Elon Musk's biography at the time, I have to admit. And he was basically, his biography is let's colonize Mars and dream big and people will laugh at you and who gives a shit? Just do what you want to do. Yeah. And so I was reading that, and that was influencing me obviously at the time, because I decided to save the world. So within about a month, I'd applied for a master's in organizational behavior and development to try and learn how to solve big problems. And I got accepted, cried for half an hour, and I was, every course, I was every class, I was at the front. And this is why I met Dahlia, by the way. She was on your podcast. Yes. So I sat at the front of she'll tell you I was such a nerd. I sat at the front of front row every class, and I was thinking, how do I apply this not to business organization, but to society as the organization? And I was trying to apply everything to that. And yeah, and it went from there. So I realized that the root of all the world's problems, I concluded, my personal opinion, is that everything is rooted in social conditioning and generational trauma. All the way, poverty, war, bigotry, racism, everything is rooted in conditioning and trauma. And so I was then okay, I got this. Let's go do a PhD in collective trauma. And so that was what I was going to do my PhD in. But then COVID hit, and I was like, maybe I don't need to wait for my PhD. I've reversed my diagnoses until now. By the end of the masters and everything, I was doing really well, and I had a baby and all. And I was just and motherhood even more into self-healing. And I was I was sharing, basically journaling and documenting my self-healing journey on Instagram. It was called Self-Lovism at the time. And people were like, oh, you're really helping me, and people around the world. And I was like, this is so cool. Planted another seed. And so then when COVID hit, I was like, okay, maybe PhD goes on hold because I have a baby, and I have and I want to I just want to help people now. And I've had success with myself. Maybe I can kind of a coaching thing, but not really coaching. I really resisted the coaching term. Don't have my reasons for it, but I'm a stickler for like ethics and integrity. And if I don't have a certification as a coach, I don't want to call myself a coach. I have a master's in consulting, which included coaching. So I'm a consultant that coaches as well. So whatever.
I get
Um,
that.
but yeah, so then I started helping people. And then I realized that I have a model, and I applied the business consulting model, problem solving model, to this business. So I basically approach people like as a business, and we want this to be a success, and you're the boss of you, and you're going to lead this like a business. You're going to step to the table, and you're going to take control, and you're going to like take leadership of this and set yourself up for success. And that's the way I consult now for this business. And so then it kind of all developed from there. So I fell into what I do. I took each step. Oh, and I did want to mention that once I signed up for my master's, I realized that all the like kids in my class, I was one of the oldest ones, second oldest, but everyone had like had one job after uni and then masters, and I'd had like all this experience from all these different industries and all that. And I was just like, now it makes sense. Now, what was a negative, my CV looked shit because it was like 6 months in each thing. And like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? Right. As a consultant with all this a variety, you know, like this varied experience, it was like, this now works for my advantage. And I was like, now it makes sense. And as I went, things just the dots kept connecting, you know? So like now when I look back and I'm like, that makes sense, that led me to my master's. Oh, that led me to the model. Oh, that led me to like being able to help people really effectively and efficiently because it's a problem solving model and then now it's metatherapy, my model. And I'm doing it in my PhD and it's like, okay, I see how it all works out. But I had no idea as I was going what was happening. I was just following like one foot in front of the other.
Absolutely. It always is the hindsight where we find our deepest lessons, you know, of like, oh, I do see how all of this is piecing together. And I mean, even just from this conversation already, I see bits of myself in you. Like also Manny Jen, human design, 3-5 line. I have been so frustrated in my life. I've made decisions in the high highs of my waves and the low lows. And for those of you listening, human design actually completely changed my life in the way that I follow my intuition and the way I understand why I'm frustrated. And it's helped me start this podcast and start my community. And it's such a beautiful thing. And
So good.
something you mentioned was a couple of times in that journey was alignment. And I would love for you to speak on that before you knew human design, because once you know human design, you're like, okay, I'm frustrated. This is how I know I'm out of alignment. But
Mm-hmm.
before that, how could you tell like if you were living in alignment with your desires, particularly for the people who are still trying to figure out what their desires are?
It's a good question. Um, Again, I just went with what I felt I wanted, like what felt right or good, or that interested me, that
Mm,
felt it just was very much like, do that. Like that's what you want. Like it was just a pull, I
mm,
guess.
yeah.
Um, I don't know how to explain it otherwise. I mean, again, I feel like life has a funny way to nudge you, and that, you know, I just followed the nudges. So
Mm,
I don't know so much as if it was I say alignment, but I literally feel like it was nudges. Like it's like, hey, you're reading Elon Musk's book. Now you kind of have this Delulu belief, you know, and so you learn about the world. Oh my God, it's a shit show. I want to do something. I want to change the world. I want to fix the world. Okay, so I'm going to Google that. I'm going to look into that. I'm going to research that. I just acted on the impulses, on the things that were like, that is something I want. I want to help with that. I want to do that. And then, so I went to masters. Oh my God, this is my happy place. I love it. I forgot how much I love school and learning, and like I ate it up, right? I was like class rep, and I was this, and and I was TA, teaching assistant for positive psychology, and I was a research assistant for that. I was just like, yes, this is what I'm meant to be doing. I just went like all in. Um, so yeah, I just followed the gut, like pull.
yeah. That's it though. I love this because it's creating such a beautiful picture. It's like the belief is the first seed. And once you just have the belief that you truly are capable, then that gives you the belief of I actually can follow these nudges when they come up. Because I think for a lot of people, the belief is shaky. So when they do feel those nudges and bits of curiosity, they question themselves and they say, oh, can I really do this? Like, particularly going back to school at a certain age, sometimes that's looked down upon and people are too scared to go back to school at a certain age. But you were like, no, this is what I want to do. I believe I can do anything now. I don't care how old I am. I'm going to go get my master's.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
So
And I
exactly.
graduated with honors and I was valedictorian with a baby on my hip.
I love
I loved
this.
it. Yeah.
And then you also have mentioned, I would love to hear more about this journey when you started sharing your healing online and reversing some diagnoses and how that felt to you to show up. I think that's another block for people is showing up online. And if you can get past that little bit of fear like you did, you have helped so many people just by showing up online and sharing your journey. So I'd love for you to speak into that.
Well, I'm a 6 line in human design. I'm a 6-3. And 6 line is role model. So for me, I feel that it's quite natural for me to show up online to like I want to model. I want to not model, like I want to model too. And I have done that as well, but I want to be a role model. I want to lead by example. It's something that is really like ingrained into me. Like I want to lead by example. And that was probably one of the first, that was just before I got sober. Um, I went to my best friend at the time and I said to her, I want to help people. And she said, how can you help people if you can't even help yourself?
Mm.
And that for me was like the punch in the gut that I guess I kind of needed. And I was like, holy shit, yeah, like I want to lead by example. And it was exactly what I needed to hear at the right time. And since then, it was just, and I had, so I divorced, but I'd had a relationship and he had overdosed. And I found him when we broken up. And I really wanted to show him what's possible. And so it was another, like someone that was very close to me that I cared very much about. And I was like, I want to show this person that he can do this. And so I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to show him that that it's doable. By the way, he's sober now too. Yay.
Wow.
But yeah, so for me, it was very much, leading by example is just my compass, I guess,
Mhm.
and human design wise it makes sense. So human design actually was validating for me more than a compass because I'd already taken the steps and then found human design and I was like, oh, it makes sense. I literally cried for like on and off for like 3 days because I felt so seen by the powers that be or whatever they are. It's just like, oh, it makes sense. Like literally my human design and gene key says I'm supposed to heal myself and then teach people how to heal. Like
Mhm.
that's my purpose. So very validating. But yeah, I think that what was the question again? Brain fart.
Um,
I have a
I don't know.
baby.
I was so into listening to what
So
you were
into
saying. I was like, what
the
could I
question
ask? But
was about leading. Oh, showing up online. Okay.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
getting over the fear.
Yeah. All right. So, I don't think, okay. So I remember the first time I did like a live, I was so scared and I have a bajillion takes in my phone. I still have all the takes from that first time I went live. Well, it wasn't really live. The first time I uploaded a video. And it's just, I mean, I know practice
Yeah.
like gets you more confident, right? Like confidence is just through practice, it's through experience. So I was like, I'm just gonna have to do this. And I realized like I want to lead by example. I want to change the world. I want to change things. I want to, be a leader. Like I'm going to have to get good at public speaking. I'm going to have to get good at being visible and showing up online. Like this is just something you're gonna have to work through. So just go. Like the longer you wait, the more you'll be putting it off. So
Yeah.
I just went with it and I started. I've always been an open book, like very much so. So when it comes to like sharing my shit online, I'm literally sharing everything. And the only hesitation I had is that my husband is super private. So I try my best not to share anything about him or our marriage. Not allowed to share anything about the kids, like not allowed to share photos of the kids either. Like he's hard boundaries there. But, I was always like a bit cautious of my family, my parents,
Mhm.
because I've been through a lot of trauma and it's sensitive subjects. And for previous generation quite taboo, as sexual abuse survivor to talk about sexual abuse. Like, they told me to keep things secret when I went through it, Um, and so I had to kind of navigate that. And even now I'm working on a book as well. And so for me to navigate how my kids are going to what are they going to hear? When are they going to hear it? How are they going to be exposed to this stuff? So yeah, I'm definitely conscious of those things, like from that angle, from that perspective. But me personally, like sharing my shit at this stage, I'm like, this is easy. Like, this is really
Yeah.
easy for me. And it's just practice. I remember I had, I can share a little tip here. So I have Facebook groups, and so I would do lives inside the Facebook group because I have 600 women in there. So it felt like a smaller, more private kind of space. It's like a bit safer. It's not public to the whole world. It's just in my little group. And so I did daily lives in there, and that got me far more comfortable with lives. And so now to do TikTok it's easy because I've got all that practice. So
I agree. It is the fear of what will people who I know closest to me think. That's what it was for me. And my suggestion for people is just start an account where they're not on it. Like, that's what I did too. And then it's
yeah.
repetition in the messy middle. Just show up over and over and over again until one day you're like, oh, this isn't so cringe. But it can be cringe in the beginning. And it is just getting over that and being like, well, I'm going to do it anyways.
My mentor says block people. Like, I don't think they can really see if they've like, again, I never blocked anyone. I'm just going with it. I don't care. But
Same.
you can also block people or have them like limit how visible your posts are to people. Like you can put boundaries around it as well. But yeah, you could just
Exactly.
start a new account.
Exactly. Well, so I think we have to, if you're okay with it, I would love to just jump into your journey of sobriety, because I think that's something that so many people struggle with, whether they admit it or not, particularly with alcohol, because it's so accepted in our society. It's such a social lubricant. And I would just love to hear. I mean, for you, it sounded like you just made one strong decision and that was it for you. But then how did it go after you made that decision? Were there questionings? Like, I'd love for you to jump into that journey.
Okay. First of all, it was many, many years of trying and failing, right?
Okay.
So I did try a few times to get sober, and it would last like 3 months. I think 6 months was maybe my longest. Could have been. I don't know if I went as far as 6 months, but I did a few months without, and it would always be like, oh, see, so I don't have a problem because I can stop,
Yes.
and then just pick it up again. But I got to the point where I was solo binge drinking, and I think I collapsed on my kitchen floor just before I got sober, and I thought I was dying. Like, I thought that was it. Like, I collapsed. I was awake, and I remember being awake, but I couldn't move my body. Like, my body wasn't responding to my brain saying like, get up. And I was stuck, and I was just like, fuck, this is bad. And I would be relieved when I woke up in the morning, because I was like, oh, okay, I didn't die of alcohol poisoning in the night.
Mhm.
I was working part-time at this point, and 1, 2 o'clock, finish work. All right, pick up the bottles on the way home and spend the day drinking at home alone. Like, that was my life. And so it was pretty bad. And um and there was the ex that OD'd, and so I wanted to be an example for him. So that was a factor that led up to it. And then I'd had a dream the night before where I was very disoriented, and like, I can remember the dream. I was like, I just couldn't find my path, and I couldn't walk. It was like a fog. It was like this mist, and I was just so disoriented and lost. And that feeling was like panicky. Like, this is like, I can't see anything, and I can't go. And it was very symbolic. And I woke up, and I remember it was a weekend where I had events like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It was a bachelorette evening and a party, and then a friend's birthday, and then a leaving party. Like, every night for those 5 days, it was Friday night, the dream. After bachelorette party, the Saturday, I had plans, Sunday and Monday. And I was like, how am I going to do this? I can't drive and drink and money. Like, this is like, how am I going to do this? And the only logical answer was just don't drink. You can go to all these events, you can make it, you can drive, you can save the money, la la la, if you don't drink. So the Saturday morning I woke up, I'd had that dream. I have this weekend ahead of me. I just passed out like practically in my kitchen, you know, collapsed on my kitchen floor like the week before. My ex had OD'd before that. I was just like, woman, just fucking stop. Just like that is the way forward. And it got to the point where I was more scared of continuing as I was than I was of changing, because we really resist change. We're very scared of change. We do not like change. Our system does not like change. Our system will resist it hard because we like the familiar. The familiar is safe to our system. And I was wanting to do a big drastic change. And another thing, my drinking buddies, my sister and two of my best friends, had all relocated, meaning left the country. Universe sending me a message.
Literally.
Like, they were my three biggest drinking buddies. My three best friends, my sister and two best friends, had all left the country. And I was like, I can actually do this now. Like, I can actually stop. It's as though it was being supported for, like, it was like nudged. Stop. So yeah, and I remember walking my dog and voice noting, like, I have to say this out loud. If I don't say this out loud, it's as though, like, there's something about saying it out loud. And I spoke into my phone. I remember recording saying, you're going to not drink anymore. Like, you're just going to stop and give it a go. And it was a hard boundary for me. So like no AA, no therapy, no nothing. I was just like, that's it, like cold turkey. And for 13 months, I did not touch a drop of alcohol. My kryptonite was wine. I have not touched a drop of wine in nearly 10 years. In May, it will be 10 years. And how I got through that, by the way, I don't know how this is good advice or not, but what I believe in finding what works for you, because everyone's different and there is no one size fits all. So I was very much like, I still want to go out and I still want to have a life, but I don't want to be drinking. And so I will drink Red Bulls when I go out, like clubbing. And so I was living with my younger brother. We were at university together. I'm like, dude, he was so upset with me because I was a hardcore drinker. I was like the legend, right? And he's like now roommates and at university. Oh my God, my big sister, and she's crazy and she's la la la. And I'm like, oh, I'm sober. And he's like, what? What are you doing? And I was like, I'm sorry. He was so excited to like party with me. So I was like, okay, I'm still going to party with him. I'm just going to do Red Bulls. And then when I get home, how am I going to sleep? I'll smoke a joint. That's fine. And so like, I navigated it in the best way that I knew how to avoid the alcohol. Like that was my goal. Everything else was fine, just not booze. That's how I got through the first year. And then, I quit drinking. I quit smoking a few months after that. I was also smoking cigarettes and weed. And I quit smoking after that because I'd met my husband. And I was like, okay, I want babies, so I'm going to quit smoking. So that was another goal for me that kept me kind of like, I want babies. I'd always wanted babies. And yeah, and then after 13 months, it didn't feel empowering anymore. I remember going to the bar with my husband, and my boyfriend at the time, and we were, everyone's drinking, la, 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 and I'm like, no, just my Coca-Cola, and I wasn't smoking either, and I was just like, oh. And I started feeling like there's something wrong with me, that I'm not allowed to join in. And I said, okay, what if you allow yourself a beer because you hate beer? And so it's just to join in, but you're not really enjoying it per se. It's just for the, like, I can, and test it out. And I was like, wine? No, I can't trust myself with wine. No way. That overpowers like me. What can I be in control over? And I said beer. So I allowed myself a beer, and it worked. And I then obviously I had babies. So I was pregnant and then breastfeeding and then I've had 3 kids. So it's like pregnant, breastfeeding, blah, 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 which helped a lot to stay sober. But it's my version of sobriety. So like at a party or a birthday or something, I'll have a glass of champagne, max 2. I haven't had more than 2 glasses of champagne at a party, but it's like once every couple of months and that's it. And I'm at the point where I've done so much healing to like support it that I don't enjoy drinking and even weed now as well. Like if I have a little puff, first of all, lightweight.
Yeah.
I have 1 puff and I am fucking flying. And I'm like, no, like it scares me. I don't want to like lose my head. Like I don't want to lose control. I for so many, it's so crazy because for so many years, I just wanted to lose myself.
Yes.
I just wanted to escape and disconnect and just not be me. And then now I love being me. I love my life so much. I don't want to jeopardize it. I don't want to fuck it up, and I don't want to lose myself. Like, I like being in my head. I like the way my head works. I've I've built it to work like this. It's awesome. Like, don't fuck with
Mhm.
it. So I don't want to lose like control. I like it the way things are now, which is really awesome.
I love that, and that is a big one. I've been on that journey too, where I loved disconnecting, and I considered that fun. Like, to me, that
Yeah.
was fun, going out and getting blackout drunk and losing myself and almost not feeling responsible for whatever I did that night because I was drunk, so it was fine.
Hated
And
responsibility. Did not want any shirking responsibility, hardcore anti-responsibility. Yes.
yes, exactly, and so it felt like this ultimate sense of freedom for me.
Mhm.
And I agree, now that I've come a long way in my healing journey as well, I can see where it's not fun for me to lose my sense of control. And so I know you had mentioned too, you noticed when you quit that things started falling into place much quicker and you felt like, wow, like I'm able to create what it is I want. And I'd love for you to like what did that look like for you when things started falling into place? Like what were the things that started falling into place and how did that feel and did that empower you to also stay sober?
By the way, before we do that, if we can circle back to that, I just want to mention with the drinking, it was also like losing inhibitions and being able to be my real self in some way,
Yeah.
like kind of letting go of the social norms and just being outrageous and being bold and crazy and fun. And then what I noticed is that when I stopped drinking, I didn't know how to socially interact because I depended on it so much for my confidence
Yes.
that I felt so lacking in confidence. And luckily, I had my partner with me, so it was just me and him. And so I didn't really go out very much after that. Like I went out with my brother for a bit, la, 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 but then I had babies, and then I was just like, homebody, and I had the space and the support to just work on me and work on things that it literally, it's like it was just. I felt very supported by the universe. Like this is the way you're meant. This is the way things are meant to happen.
Yeah.
Um, but I just wanted to mention that. And back to your question. What was it?
Well, just how you felt when things started coming into alignment, and did
Oh,
you say like, "Oh, this is because of my sobriety," and then that helped you keep the sobriety because 'cause you're like, "Oh my gosh, everything's going so well for me in my life right now." And what did that look like? What were the things that started coming into your life?
okay. I got sober in May 2016. Signed up for my master's in June, a month later. Met my now husband in August, 2 months
Yeah.
after that. Started my master's in October. Was like, oh, I'm in my happy place. 2 months after that, quit smoking. Less than a year later, had my baby, my first baby, and became a mum, which was my lifelong dream. And so, dream come true. Graduated, well, got pregnant, sorry. And then I graduated, um, and was like, okay, PhD, then had my baby and went into the whole healing stuff there. And then started my business. It was 2018. I had my first one. And then, yeah, and then I started my business 2020. So there was 2 years there where I was working on PhD. And then I'm trying to think about the date. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. It's
But
just it's
you
such
can
a
see how
beautiful
like the things really
unfolding.
follow on. It was like literally one thing after the next. Um,
Listen.
oh yeah, because I graduated a year after and I had the baby. Okay, sorry, because graduation is a year. I was like, how did I graduate when he was born and but I only got pregnant? Anyway, I was trying to make sense of it in my head. It's been a while since I've been thinking about this stuff. Okay, anyway, so then COVID hit, and then my business literally with COVID, and I was pregnant with baby number two. So then baby number two came, and then okay. So I started doing visualizations and I visualized like my dream house. Now, at this point, I'm living with my husband at his parents' place, like in an like unit, apartment, whatever. Um, by the way, just like manifesting stuff as well. So when I was pregnant with first baby, I had a little Suzuki Swift, for example. And I remember Suzuki Vitara came out and I was like, oh, I would love that car. It's not fancy. I'm not a fancy kind of person. It's not fancy. It's not too expensive, but it looks like the two-tone Land Rover kind of copy. Oh my God, that's a car I would love. Let it go. I'm not going to have money for buying that right now. Like I'm just out of uni again and all that. Less than a year later, I was pregnant. 6 months later, my mum got diagnosed with cancer, left my dad, decided she needed a car, liked my little car. I'm having a baby. I need a bigger car. So why doesn't she take my car and she buys me a new car instead of herself a new car? What car do I want? I would never have guessed that I would manifest the car that I wanted because my mom would get cancer and leave my dad of 38 years. Like how would you even think? So it's like literally when people say with manifesting, don't think about the how, just trust that it will come. And again, I would never wish for my mom to get cancer and leave my dad. I wouldn't even think about, like it's unthinkable. It's not like something that I would even imagine. Like it literally just happened. Crazy. Oh my God, like how's this happening? Like COVID is crazy. We couldn't imagine the world shutting down, but then that's how I started my business because the world shut down. Like, and people were really, anyway. So I started manifesting. So I did back to the visualization thing. So I visualized my dream house and I'm living with my husband. And then we were living in Israel, conflict broke out. So we're like, okay, I can't live in a war zone. I've got babies running to a bomb shelter. What's happening to the other side is even worse. Like I can't live here. I can't. It's out of alignment with who I am. I want peace and love in the world. Like I can't live in this. I can't live here and raise my children here. So I told my husband, like, we're leaving. And he was like, okay. So we relocated to an island in the Mediterranean. We live in Mallorca. And we were house hunting and I saw a house that was very, very, very similar to the house that I had visualized. It was very specific. It's one story in the shape of a U, with high vaulted beamed ceilings. And I came in and I was like, this is a U shape. This is one story, high vaulted ceilings. This is the house. I was like, this is the house. And it was at the appointment to see the house was at 11 a.m., house number 11. And I was just like, okay. And we took a big risk, because there's like legal issues, whatever. And I was just like, I'm doing it. I want the house. Like, this is the house. I'm meant to get it. Like, so I get the nudges. I get the support of like, yes. And, I risked a lot of money signing on. We risked a lot of money, but I said to my husband, "You want it? You're cool with it? Okay." And I ran and I signed. I didn't even read the contract, and it was never mind. Manifested a house, and so now I'm living my dream. Like I'm a mom of 3 in a stunning house. We bought the forest next door. We got it last year. We have a couple of acres. We live 800 meters from the sea on an island. We manifested the dogs. We bought one dog, and my husband, it's a little like Japanese Spitz. It's like not a real dog. It's like a toy. And my husband was like, I want a real dog, like a man's dog. We're like, okay. So we're looking at adoption sites. And then like when we moved in the forest next door, there was cages with 3 dogs and we could hear them crying all the time and whatever. Ended up buying the dogs and 2 goats. Bought the animals so that, and then we ended up buying the forest as well. But one of the dogs, one of the 3, was this stunning German short haired pointer. And it was literally like the dog that my husband couldn't have even like dreamt of. It was such a beautiful dog. Big manly man dog. And, yeah, so like literally, and then manifested the cat, manifested the cat, like everything. Everything literally manifesting my dream life. And the PhD, that's a whole other thing. Like, so I always wanted the PhD and I stopped it because of my business. So when we got to the island, I was like, let's see, there's one university on the island and they just happen to have a PhD program in English. And they just happen to have a track, which is society and cognition, where they have a track called emotion and motivation. So I can study self-change, even though I don't have a clinical psychology background. It's business psychology with my master's. And I was just like, okay. And I met with a professor and he's like, you're in the right place. And I literally was like, oh my God, how is this happening? So yeah.
Full circle. And now you're on the island. So I would love for you to share with the listeners who just listen to your story and they have that little ping inside of them like, "Oh my gosh, what I'm imagining could possibly actually happen for me." Like, what steps would you say for them to take of, how to visualize what they want and release the how? Like, what advice would you give them if they're like, "I can do this too?"
Uh, Consciously consume. Look for inspiration. Look for the things that light you up. Look for the things that give you that like pull. That like, oh yes, and things that you're jealous of. Like those are things that you really desire, right? Jealousy is a good thing. Um, Not like a good thing, but like it shows you what you want, and the inspiration. I really believe it's the belief, right? You got to really nurture the belief. And I consciously consume all the time. Like I started building a business. Okay, oh my god, imposter syndrome. Who the fuck am I to help other people? I was the one that needed help. Now I've got to help people. Like, oh my god, that's a whole identity shift. And it is
Yeah.
like it's self change. It's identity work, right? And so it was really looking for role models, like what does it look like? How does it feel like? What is it, how to be a business owner, to help other people. And so it was constantly consuming. We learn through example as well. We lead by example, but we learn by example. So be conscious about and intentional about what you're consuming, about the examples that you are being exposed to. And so I got very intentional about that. I think that's a big tip. Be very intentional about what you consume. um Nervous system regulation. Like I had to leave a country. Like I was lucky enough that I could, because I was so dysregulated. I was crying every day. I was like, I can't serve from this place. Like I'm useless. I cannot be the best mom I can be. I cannot be the best partner I can be. I cannot be the best consultant, coach, mentor I can be. Like I need regulation. I cannot live here. Like I can't do this. And luckily enough, we were able to leave. It took us a year for paperwork, and like I got European citizenship, and we managed to move. But I think it's fuck fear.
Yeah.
Like lean into the gut. Like relocating a family. Like I literally there's no I don't I literally fuck fear.
Yeah.
Just so it's scary. So what? Like I can't like be very it's conviction in the decisions that you make. And if you don't have that conviction, find a way to get it. Like what do you have that conviction in? Like what do you feel that gut of like, yes, like I believe in that, I want that, I need this, and simultaneously question everything. Like it's quite contradictory, but curiosity is the first pillar of my model. It's literally critical thinking. Question shit. Your belief is, you're not good enough. Question the shit out of that.
Mhm.
Why? Are you really like, I shouldn't be doing this? Who the fuck says? Fuck the shoulds. So it's really question everything and find what you really are like passionate about, like what lights you up, and like run with that energy.
Yes. I love that. Curiosity is a big one for me too. Curiosity is how I've continued to change my life over and over and over again. So all of the books and the podcast and how people can find you, I'm going to put all of that in the show notes. And with our last couple of minutes, I would just love for you to, if there's anything left on your heart for you to tell people about what it is you do, or just anything left that you have to give the people.
I think, we kind of got to it at the end with the belief piece and identity. I think it really is, who are you? And that
Yeah.
was, it was, what am I meant to do with my life? And who am I? Those were the two questions that killed me. Like, and the who are you piece, I can say that you are conscious awareness. You are not your thoughts. And so you are the observer of your thoughts. You are a spirit having a human experience. And so when you can detach yourself from your thinking mind, from your thoughts, and realize that you are conscious awareness and you have control over your thoughts and your beliefs, like the beliefs are things that we're internalizing, that programmed into us. You have more power than you realize. You can take back that power and decide, okay, this is who I'm being right now, but that's not me. That's not an alignment that I don't feel like I want that to be me. Like I
Right.
was a drunk and I took that on as identity. Like, yeah, I'm the legend, right? Like I'm the, fun, crazy party girl, it girl, la, 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 whatever. Like clubs were paying me to have my birthdays at their clubs because I'd bring all the people. I was nuts. I was absolute nutcase. But and my identity was like attached to that, right? Like our ego wants attachment to like, who are we, right? And when I had to let go and shed that identity, because I realized that it wasn't making me happy. I just wasn't happy. I was fucking miserable and I hated myself. And so I would say that we are taught not to prioritize happiness and health. And I can tell you now, because my wish came true, every birthday wish blown out my candles was health and happiness. I was like, I just want to be healthy and happy because I did not have my health or my happiness. And that was my candles wish for years, for like all of my teens and 20s, basically. And I think that when we prioritize health and happiness, and we have the belief that we can change and that it is identity work that can help with that and all those kind of things together. And then comes like trust and whatever. But like, there's so many different pieces to the puzzle, right? And everyone's at whatever stage they're at. So, but generalize, general kind of generalization, I think, would be consciously consume. It's identity work, identity shift. You can change, figure out who you are, lean into your passions, fulfill your potential, realize you have way more power than you realize and that you've been taught to, like, led to believe, and prioritize getting to know yourself, like your actual self, and loving yourself and leading yourself, taking back the power. These thoughts aren't serving me anymore. Let's think different thoughts. These beliefs are not serving me. They're limiting beliefs. Let's change the beliefs. You can change that.
Yes, take back your power. I love
Yes.
that so much. This has been such a fascinating conversation. I personally can see myself so much in this conversation. And this is why I love doing it, because I know so many other people can see that too. And they can tap into the belief, they can tap into your story, they can see where you started and where you are now and realize, holy fuck, I can do this
I'm
too.
just getting started. I'm just fucking getting, and I
Yes.
know that. But yes, continue. Sorry.
No, I love that. You are just getting started. And it doesn't matter. Like, your age doesn't matter. Where you're at doesn't matter. You literally can recreate your life at any time when you make the conscious decision that you can.
Boom.
Yes. So thank you so much, Emily. This has been an absolute pleasure. And I will post everything in the comment or in the links below so people can find you and find all of the resources that you mentioned. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
If you're feeling called to recreate your life in 2026 and not do it alone, I want to invite you into the Rise and Recreate portal. It's a community for people who are ready to release old patterns, reconnect to themselves, and consciously create what's next. Inside, we gather for guided ceremonies where we set intentions, we rewire our subconscious, and we have honest conversations, all designed to help you trust yourself, take aligned action, and actually build a life that feels like yours. Right now, you can join for half off your first month, so it's the perfect time to step in, get supported, and recreate your life alongside people who truly get it. You'll find the link below, and I would love to see you in there.